Hello, welcome back. This is Maurice Dimpa, and today I'm going to show you how we can create a connection between a truss and a column. We had just finished how a connection on the apex end here, and where I showed you how we can create a connection using two plates bolted together. So we have this truss and this truss assembled on site, will be assembled on site, but the other parts remaining are normally welded or fabricated on site. Then we carry the assembly, which is convenient to carry, maybe with a truck. Now, the next step here, I want just to show you how we can create a connection between this truss and this column. So we have a special macro for that, and also you can also customize this connection manually. But if you find a way that you can do something faster, you always go with that so that you save time. So this particular connection we can create with a macro. Now, the best macro for that, I'll come under. Let me just scroll up and I'll minimize that. Let me just come to splice connection. Splice connection, we don't get it there. Splice connection, we don't have the best tool there. We'll come to bracings. Bracings, we don't have the best tool. And the best tool we can get here is truss connection. So we'll use this truss end connection, truss end plate connection. Truss end plate with gusset plate. So we are going to use this macro to create a connection between this column and this truss. So I'll invoke that command. Then I'll pick the first column. You can see select the column. I'll select on the column here, then select on the truss, then select on this bottom chord. Let me just repeat that prior to applying my settings there. Right click to terminate that command. Now this is my truss, and I want to create a connection between the column and the top chord and the bottom chord. So the best macro we can use, or the best tool we can use, is truss end plate with gusset. So I'll select on that macro, then immediately invoke that command or start that command. You'll be able to see the instruction, the first instruction here, to select the column. I'll select the column, then select the truss. So selecting the truss, we'll start with the top and bottom chord to create connection. I'll start with the top chord there, then select the bottom chord right there. Then I'll right click to allow that connection to take effect. So I'll right click once again to get out of that command, then right click again to click interrupt to get off that command. So let me just mouse over any point here to define my point of interest, then press and hold the right button on your mouse and hold. You will be able to turn that round. So this is how you can create a connection, but this is a default connection. So we can go further and customize this. You can see how it looks. You cannot allow bolts hanging on like that, and these are so many bolts. You cannot allow that to happen. So we want to customize this. So to customize this, you have to see the dialog box of this particular connection. So to access that connection dialog box, just select any parts of this connection, then double tap letter M on your keyboard like this, 1, 2, then press enter on your keyboard like that. Then give some time to bring up that dialog box. So in here you'll be able to set or customize the settings of your choice. Maybe if you want to a single bolt, or it's upon you as long as it meets the standards. Now I have my settings in place. These are my settings that I had created, though this comes by default. These are default setting, but I have added some few settings on top of the defaults. So if I come to second side, you can see these are the settings, yes, the default settings as it is here. Now, if I come to my macro presets, because I always create a connection and save the connections so that you don't waste time jumping up and down to create connection. So that will take a lot of your time. Now, if I come to macro presets here, then come to macro preset drop down box, drop down arrow. I'll click on that and I'll have this my connection. I saved it as truss column connection. So if I click on that, then load. So the moment I'll load the settings. then I click apply. So if I apply, it will adjust itself to my settings. Let me first of all close it so that I'll be able to go back to show you my settings so that you can also apply on your structure. So you can see that I've already this how my setting looks. So this plate and this plate comes together with the truss. One side of the truss comes together. This is shipped to side together. This and this. Though I'll show you the full assembly, how the full assembly will look. Now this is how it looks. Now if I select that part once again and double tap letter M on my keyboard and enter, I'll take you back to this dialog box. Then I'll come here. If you come here, because these are now the settings of my presets, you can see now this. You can copy that if you want to apply the same. These are my settings. If I come to second side, remains that way. Plate remains that way. Maybe I can add couplet. Couplet is not appearing, but you can always add manually on the side of the column. If I come to first side, if I come to that, you can see the bolts we have all this. So these bolts from center to center, these the 8 of them, but at a distance of 65. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 right there. Always note we always have 1 bolt or 2 bolts, a default bolt. So if you add that, in this particular case, I have 8, but by default, plus the default bolt, make it 9. So at a distance of 65 millimeter center to center, we did an offset of that from top here. From top here, let me just show you something here. First here, this flash that is 0, 0, and that you can see that. You can copy the settings, and the bolt diameter is 16 millimeter. The second side we don't need, the plate weld we don't need. So that's how you'll apply that. So once you are done, and you can see here we don't have a stiffening plate or the cap plate here. So here we can add one manually. So to add that, we'll come to plate, and I'll create a contour plate here. I'll snap on that spot, snap there, then snap at the corner here, and snap at the far end here, then snap and join the polygon right there. So we have our plates already created, but it's way thick. This is a 20 millimeter. If I double click here, you can be able to see it's 20 millimeter. And let's change this to 10 millimeter. So I click apply. So the moment I click apply, and let me click OK so that you see the position of this particular plate. It is in a position where it's not flashing with the top flange of this particular column. So I'll double click on it once again and drag it slightly aside, then shift or take it at the bottom. Using this position in depth, I'll click on that and click front. Click behind and then click apply and give it an OK. It has shifted. Now what we're going to do, it's very simple. We want to chamfer this because you don't want this stiffeners to hold or to harbor any water in case of rain. In case of rain, so we want to create a chamfer here. So in case the water settling on top here, will be able to find an escape route through the chamfered edges. So I select on this plate, then select at the corner end here, then mouse over this particular plate dialog box and click on that chamfer. So the chamfer just fit in here. This one is 15 millimeter, that one is 15 millimeter. Then I'll go ahead. First of all, you pick the chamfer type. You have the chamfer types here. You can either pick that, pick this, pick that, but I prefer the type 1. So I keyed in 15 millimeter and 15 millimeter, click apply and give it an OK. So the moment you give it an OK, always pick, try turn it around so that you see how it looks. So I'll click on it once again, then click on the part I want to chamfer, come to chamfer there, chamfer settings, then apply the same. So I have the plates, my plate already chamfered. So I'll select this member, then I want to have a copy on the other end. Right click and come to special copy here and click mirror. So I want to mirror it from this line there all the way to this end there, all the way to this far end here, and click OK. So if I click that, I'll be able to come to options here and just click run. So if I click run, I'll be able to close that, and I'll be able to see I have my end plate on this far end. So I want to copy these ones to the other end, at the bottom end, by maybe 580 right there is okay. I'll come to special copy and pick on linear. I don't need mirror. I'll select linear copy back at the bottom. So the measurement you see here defines the location of our plates. These are the coordinates defining the location. I'll delete that, and delete that. So I want to copy this on the direction, on the z-axis direction. So every axis, the remaining coordinates or the axis should remain 0. So in here I'll feed in 580, then I'll prefix that with a negative sign because you're moving downward the direction of the z-axis. So if I click copy, I'll be able to see my plate right there. So I have my stiffeners here. Once I've done so, I'll select these plates here. I'll select that plate. Let me first of all weld them. I'll create a weld. I'll come to steel and pick on the weld. I want to weld this to that. I want to weld this member to this member. I want to weld this member. I want to weld this member to this member to that member. Weld has been created. So let me go the other side also and create a weld. Let me just go there. It's not accurate. Let me just undo that. So if I come here, I come to auto weld and select this member and weld to that member. I click and terminate that. So I'll come back here and maybe you choose that option, select that member and weld that member. Then turn the other end and create a weld. I'll weld this to this. So let's try if we have an assembly, if the assembly of this column will include these plates. So select on it, then right click and come to assembly. So one has been left out, one has not been connected. So you can see we have this in place, but one plate on top and one plate at the bottom has not been welded. So we come back here and create weld. Weld this to this. Let's try and check whether the assembly has been created. Select assembly, has not been created. Now I'll come back again, select this member and weld to that member. Now the welding has been created. So if I come here, I'll select this member and weld to that member. You can see now the welding has been created. And to confirm that, select it, right click and come to assembly, and you can see we have the assembly in place. Let me just show the selected, so we can see we have this has been included in the assembly. So this will be fabricated on the workshop and shipped to site for erection. So let me right click and come to show all, and I'll be able to see everything. Now let me select the plates once again because I want to mirror them the other end. So once I've selected that, I'll come to right click and come to special copy and pick on linear. So you can see our mirror line has shifted to a different place. So I want to have to define it once again and maybe use that as my mirror line. Then if I come to options here and click run, I'll be able to close that. And if I come at far end here, I'll be able to see I have my stiffeners in place, couplets and stiffeners in place. So the next thing I want to create the connection here. Now, if I use this same tool, truss end plate with gazette, I'll connect that, select on that member, select on that member, and select on this member, then right click. A connection has been created. So I'll just select also left click on any part, then double tap, you press letter M twice, then enter on your keyboard like that. this will bring the setting dialog box of this particular macro. Then I'll come to macro presets here, then apply my own settings here, click load, then apply. Then we have our gusset place, our truss fully connected to the columns. You can see that, as simple as that. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Maurice Dimba, and let's meet then.